last week on the Nicoletti Show. So without further ado, let's welcome him to the show. Brandon Schwam, what have you seen be some of the hottest trends and topics in real estate right now?
Real estate, it feels like almost always the same. Like the stuff that has worked in the past still works now, and it's just like, it's a super simple business. I mean, our business is 80% sales and marketing. So if that's what your business is, it's just focusing most of your time on that.
When you say that it's really 80% sales, how are you dialing that in with your team to understand that it's not just, hey, I got a CRM, hey, I'm picking up a deal, but how to talk to these people?
One of the main things I do with helping them is going through those calls with them, being like, how do you improve here? Like finding where we're going to get the best, ROI on our time is me spending it, getting them better in sales, and obviously getting them better leads at the best price.
When you want to find these A players, what are some of the characteristics you look for in the hires of these people?
A trend I've noticed is like people that are ex-athletes, people that they were in like the military or a cop. Actually, our top guy was a cop for 8 years. No sales experience, came in and did $250,000 his first year. If you have the right people, it'll all figure itself out. We're a people business, and when I've noticed the biggest increases in revenue in my company is when we've brought in the right people. Bring in little as the wrong people as possible and bring in as many as the right people as possible.
It's always about just the right people. Gotta find those people.
Super simple.
Thanks again for being on.
Thank you, Al. Have a good one.
You too. We'll see you soon, Brandon. We'll keep crushing those probates, man. What's up, everybody? Another Wednesday night in the books over here. We are live in the studio. We are in person for this episode, and I am so excited to bring the Koneckis on for this. You don't want to miss this, and if you missed any of last week's episode, you got to go back and check that out. There's always so much value behind these episodes. Like when you dive into these episodes, you can learn so much from the guest, what they've been through, their mistakes, their experiences, and of course, pay attention to the signature questions at the end of the episodes. That's where I'm just getting into the things that we weren't even able to talk about when we were doing onboarding. These are great questions that you learn from all the time. So check that out. And of course, scan the QR code at the top of the screen. You can find all of our content on the social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Apple, we're everywhere. And you don't want to miss it. But tonight's episode, I am so excited to have Mandy and Keith Konecki live in the Nicoletti studio in person, because this is what it's all about, bringing people together where we can really talk and sit them down, see each other in person, and learn from their stories. And the Koneckis are doing great, amazing things in the Jacksonville community, growing their real estate business, and we got to learn from it. I love them. They're doing amazing. Well, I am ready to go tonight. I got the laptop out and taking notes, and we are ready to do this thing in studio. So let's rock this thing. Hey everybody, my name is Al Nicoletti. I'm an attorney here in Florida, and welcome to the Al Nicoletti Show, where I bring on real estate super investors, rising rock stars, movers and shakers, and leaders of clubs in their community that educate, entertain, and inspire all things on Florida real estate, and always bring in the best in the game, no matter what industry they're in. They can be in commercial, Airbnb, they're doing branding, marketing. We want to bring the best in the business on how you can take your company to the next level. On my show today, in studio, in person, we have Mandy and Keith Konecki. You're going to love them. You're going to love this episode because they are doing great things in the community, building themselves, getting into real estate, and they love talking about it. So without further ado, let's welcome them to the show. Mandy, Keith, welcome.
Thank you, Al.
Thanks, Al. Thanks for having us. We're super excited to be here.
Yes, I am so excited. I get to see you at Family, and we're in Family Mastermind together. I get to see you at Family. I see Keith, and I saw him like a year ago, and I love seeing the growth of what you guys have been doing, building your community, the connection. We'll talk about that. I got to know, because we've never really got into the story of how you guys got into real estate, like how you got into this sector. I love to hear these things in the beginning. How did you two get into this real estate industry?
Well, about 7 years ago, well, it's about a decade now, time flies. We always talked about wanting to get into real estate. He has a background of being the handyman and can kind of do it all. So I was 7 months pregnant, and he was working out of state at a thing, and a friend texted me that she had a house that she was going to sell that needed rehab. And I said, all right, we'll buy it, sight unseen. And that was the beginning of that. And since then, I mean, there's nothing better than learning from just doing.
Sure.
So we definitely took the steps on that part. And since then, we have built a wholesale operation, a portfolio of short-term, long-term rentals. Vacation rentals was our beginning because who doesn't love a vacation? And then we also have a lending company and a off-market platform that we're developing too.
Very cool. Okay.
So
Go
to
for
get,
it.
to get to the
Yes.
to get to how we got started, to go back. So Mandy didn't even go into this house. So she bought it sight unseen, basically. And I'm out in Nevada at the Hoover Dam working, and I come home and she's like, "Oh." And I had just moved from Colorado to Florida, and I didn't know about all the flooding and all that stuff. And I walked in this house and it was completely like flooded from one of the storms. And I was like, wow, okay, well, here we go.
Yes.
A lot of learning for me. So that was basically how we got started, was that first one.
Yeah, but you can do it all.
Not all of them.
So it was really just getting your feet wet, like learning on the go, right? It wasn't necessarily like a course or an education program or watching things on YouTube.
No, I have a construction background.
Okay.
So I was an electrician, and I was
Okay.
also a pipe fitter welder. And I think I was at the Hoover Dam, welding at the Hoover Dam when she bought that house.
Okay.
So, so I kind of knew like all the stuff that happened behind the walls of the houses. So
I only knew the stuff that happened outside of the walls, like the pretty paint and all the decorations and
So it
stuff
really
that you see.
So it really made for a good combo for you too.
yeah, yep. And that's how we basically got started, was doing them ourselves. I would do the work. I ended up quitting my job and just doing all the work myself. And after a while, that kind of held me back because it was harder to scale, to let that part of myself go and scale up into, the more manager and like trying to hire it all out and everything. So
We were listening to a lot of podcasts and books. I think you got started with the Bigger Pockets, and then we snowballed into a couple other podcasts, other books, networks, etc. But you can only learn so much until you dive in. You
Right.
dive in, and that's where the real education happens,
Sure.
and the things unfold behind the walls, and different surprises happen on every corner. Then you just figure it out.
Right. And so from there, building the portfolio, right?
Yep.
Let's talk about that. You guys got a lot into buy and holds, short-term rentals. We always want to know the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to getting in that sort of industry, right? Because a lot of people were in buy and hold before the pandemic, and then it really switched to short-term rental. And then all of a sudden there was that pivot to pad split. And so there's all these different things going on. What have you seen be the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to having the buy and holds and what that's been like?
Well, the buy and holds are good to build the wealth on the back end. Mandy was working a W-2 job. She had a really good job. So I was concentrating on building the portfolio out to build wealth later on. And then just to try and get Mandy out of her W-2, we switched over to more of an active income and started, doing more like wholesaling and lending and all that stuff. So that's how we're kind of transitioning from the buy and holds. We have a mixture of like long-term rentals, short-term rentals, and mid-term rentals, just kind of to diversify that holding aspect of the real estate. So we're not like stuck just in short-term rentals, where if that takes a dive, then we have backups. So
Right. Okay.
kind of strategize that way as far as like diversifying our hold portfolio to all across the board.
Have you found that there's one in particular that you guys enjoy working on more than the others, or is it kind of an equal balance?
It kind of goes on both. I love the vacation rentals, again, because vacationing is one of my favorite things to do, and I have a hospitality background. So I love being able to offer that opportunity for other people to come down, make memories, enjoy the beach in our little city that we love here so much. But I feel like our most easiest one that we love is a new build. So we bought a new build townhouse, and we haven't had any issues with it. Insurance is still good. Everything's under warranty. We have a long-term tenant in there. It's by far our easiest one, and less maintenance, less management, etc. Where the other ones, they require a little bit more attention.
Right. And are you guys doing the rehabbing as well if you get into buying one of those properties?
Yeah. Our most recent one, we bought 8 houses on one lot, and we rehabbed all of them, and now we're renting them out long-term rentals. And I'm kind of up and down on the long-term rentals because you do have your tenant issues and all that stuff. Where like the short-term or mid-term is like, hey, I'm going to be there for the weekend, or I'm going to be there for 30 days, and it's a little bit less, I don't know.
Commitment?
Yeah, a little less commitment, but like, you don't have to worry about evictions and all that, like
Right.
that stuff.
Right.
But then you have to stay on top of making sure that property is filled up with bookings. So it's more management on the front side, where long terms are like more like, hey, this happened. Can you get somebody out here tomorrow?
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah.
So there's consistency in the long term because people are there the whole time. But on the flip side, on a short term, you get to see it on a regular basis too. So you're not waiting a year or 2 years to get in there and see what your property looks like. You're waiting 3, 7, 30 days, and you can have visibility and keep the maintenance up too.
That's cool. So what have been some of your favorite marketing strategies or staging strategies for getting those Airbnbs to a high capacity for occupancy?
Location. I mean, you can market location, and then obviously being in Florida, the heat, the weather, pools are a very big component to people wanting to come down. Offering different amenities too to make anything easier for people traveling. A lot of people travel by plane. They don't want to bring towels and beach chairs, etc. They want to come. Everything's provided. If you can provide a cooler, accessibility, things for them to do, it does a lot of attraction. What kind of marketing strategies have you guys been using? He's now our new marketing guru.
Oh, well, here we go. Let's let it all out.
You know Excel sheets.
I don't know about all that. Definitely not a group. I don't know. I think the videos and the pictures and all that kind of stuff. Mandy puts them on the different platforms, and we're broadening our platform usage, not just to like Airbnb and Vrbo, like everybody, like the standard ones. So, but that's been on the as far as the Airbnb marketing side.
Okay. So are you guys doing wholesaling, or is it more, okay? So you're doing a lot of different things on the portfolio. So you have your buy and holds, short-term rentals, but then you're doing wholesaling as well. Yes. So you guys are also going direct to seller. Let's talk about that, because I know one thing that you mentioned is trying to help others dispo their leads, because a lot of people struggle with, they're really good with the acquisition side, but then when they need to find somebody that wants to either buy it, what's your exit strategy? How do you solve that? So, because you guys know what it's like to be on the buy and hold on the end.
Yep.
How are you working through these wholesale deals? How are you working through the dispositions to help people?
So the wholesale, we really started just kicking it off after Mandy left her W-2 to have more of an active income, because we were concentrating on building the portfolio for the wealth. So the wholesale, and then it feeds our fix and flip company. So that's also like when we moved from Ohio, we had such a small network where everything was organically brought to us. Like, hey, my grandma passed away. Do you want to come and you want to buy our house, kind of thing. So down here, it's a little very, Jacksonville is a big city. So we started the wholesale company to try and funnel in more leads and more properties for us, and then started just dispo them. But now we're launching the REI Connection, and that's going to be it's a platform where you can put all of your off-market properties on this platform, and it's like an off-market MLS. So anybody can sign up, and you can
And it's free.
Yep. But you can go in there and you can say, hey, I want 3 2s, block houses in this area. And anytime one gets listed on the platform, you get notification. And then wholesalers can take their deals, put them on there. So it kind of helps the whole wholesale and also the buy and hold people have one platform where they are looking for investment properties.
Very cool. So it's going to be like a just a software kind of thing, right?
Yep.
And everybody can get on there, upload their stuff, and it's almost a community. It's a community,
It's
right?
just like we refer to it as similar to an off-market MLS. So it's a platform similar to what the agents list their listings on.
Very cool.
But it's free, and it's just everybody can come in and join the community.
Very cool.
And one of the designers, he's actually really big into crypto. So we are having, it's going to, where you can actually tokenize your assets on the platform also.
So you have seen that become a big topic among the real estate community.
Yes, I've been hearing a lot about it. I don't know hardly anything about it, but I'm learning. So but it seems like it's very with the asset backed tokenization. It seems like it's going to be something that could like really take off. And like I'm more interested in that because it's actually an asset that you can, balance out.
Okay.
Versus it's not out in the cloud somewhere.
Right. That's cool.
It's mind-blowing. It's going to take a different level when it comes to syndications and apartment buildings and larger projects where you can just do $1,000 or however crypto works, instead of having to buy each unit. Things you can tokenize the entire project.
And what's the name of it going to be?
It's a REI connection.
Okay, so people can find it. Yeah, so we'll make sure we put the Chiron up there for you guys. And it's launched or it's launching soon?
It's launched right now.
Okay.
So we're still working on tweaking a couple things. So, there might be a couple little bugs here and there.
Yeah.
But it's launched right now. I think we have like 7 or 8 properties up right now.
Okay.
That we're wholesaling.
There's 10,000 plus users already on the platform, and it's global, so it's not just a local thing.
Sure.
It's a global platform.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah, you gotta pump that out there. Have you made a Facebook group for it yet?
We have not.
Okay.
Like I said, we're running all of our properties through trying to find the bugs.
Right.
And then like this month we're supposed to be like hopefully bug free.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna start launching it.
Yeah. Yeah, you want it to be bug free before you launch it. Yeah,
definitely.
It's great. I love it. Y'all are so fun. So, what have been some of the challenges that you two have seen in this kind of market right now with wholesaling and working with sellers, and maybe even working with some of the investors with this? It's a different kind of market right now, right? What are some of the challenges that you guys are going through?
A lot of the challenges that we've actually ran into with like the wholesaling is not being able, like there's not enough like meat on the bones, or like people are so stuck in their house with insurance costs going up and that it's hard to even sell the house. A lot of these houses are in default and they can't even cash flow as rentals. So that's like been one of our hardest things, is not being able to help those people out of a bad situation that they're already in, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what else to do for you. Like even like going creative has been like, we've had to try to do the creative stuff, like the sub twos and novation agreements and all that, but it's even getting harder to do those that actually make it profitable.
And a lot of that has to do with the insurance and taxes continuing to rise. The insurance is a true crisis. I hear that other insurance companies are coming into the market, and we're expected to see some softening of that. But I personally don't know when that's going to happen, especially when things like Hurricane Helene comes through. And you just never know what's going to happen with that. So that's really putting a damper on being able to cash flow on properties and help other people out.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest thing, is not
Another
being able
thing
to
is
help.
not our end buyers seem to be a lot of wholesalers. So they're wholesaling our contracts, but they're not performing on their earnest money.
Ooh.
Which is, it's a problem when it comes for us, but we also offer that solution where we have another company called Funding Ninja.
Okay.
That is primarily focused on lending earnest money down as well as double closing. And then we also just got approved for DSCR loans as well as pad split loans. So co-living's
Ooh,
becoming
pad
a
split
huge,
loans.
yeah.
Okay.
Co-living in general is becoming huge
Yes.
as, again, inflation happens.
Yes.
You see people downsizing, moving in with family, getting roommates, doing more rent by the room. I actually moved here 20 years ago, and I apparently was in a co-living situation and had no idea that was even a thing. So I rented a bedroom for $500 a week, and it was a 4-bedroom place. We all had our own bathrooms. It was wonderful because it was a month to month. That person was making $2,000 a month on the co-living. And I did the math now that I'm educated on this side. And I was like, oh my gosh, if he rented that long term, that was probably an $800 or $900 per month. And I was like, he was crushing it.
Yeah.
And it was near college. And now we're seeing a lot of that again, where people rent by the room. They pay weekly, monthly, bi-monthly. So that's becoming more and more things. So we're super excited to be able to offer that service.
Right.
For investors, as more investors are buying properties and they're turning a 3-bedroom house into a 5-bedroom house,
Right.
For higher cash flow,
Yeah.
that we can offer loans to support those co-living opportunities.
That's really cool. And Funding Ninja, it's right on Keith's hat right there. You can't miss that. He had to bring that in. So you got it right there. Go look that up. Find it right there. And it's funny you say that about that story about co-living, because I asked that question about pad split to RJ Bates, Steve Trang, and Chris Jefferson. And they all were basically like, yeah, that's been around for this whole time. It's just like, it's a revived concept, but hey, it's back, and, people are educated on it, and it's a strategy that people have been implementing, right? So in terms of, we'll talk about both topics, the pad split loans and the transactional funding. I don't think I've had anybody come on the show that's talked about transactional funding. So just give a brief overview of that, and then also dive into that about how you guys are helping others.
So transactional lending typically refers to earnest money down. If a wholesaler has 10 contracts under contract, I guess, and the typical percent is 1% earnest money down that they have to put into title in order to make their contract valid while they find a buyer. The average wholesale, let's say, is $200,000. That would be $2,000 per property times 10. That's $20,000 that they would have to come up with and hold up in title while they're going out and trying to find buyers for that. Most people don't have that money just sitting in a bank that they want to throw there. So using other people's money, which is also something that helped us grow our portfolio, helps them take that weight off and that burden off while they go out and navigate that. So we offer that service as well as double closing funds. So again, another example would be if a wholesaler or anybody has a contract that they're paying $100,000 to the seller for this house, and they're selling it to the end buyer for, let's use numbers of $200,000. They don't want that number to show up on the HUD of them profiting $100,000. So you do a double close, so that spread is hidden. We offer those funds. It's typically a 24-hour funding. Sometimes it's 48 hours on that. Another reason that double closing is becoming more popular is they're cracking down on the wholesale laws, where some states are banning it altogether. So you have to physically close on that property before you sell it. You can't assign the contract to someone else.
Right.
So that funding comes in valuable for that situation also.
Yeah. There could be perks to actually doing the double close though too, because there was one investor we had on, Jonathan Duong. He talked about one probate deal that we worked on, and he actually took down the deal because at the time the end buyers that were approaching him with offers, it wasn't too great. So he was like, yeah, I'm just going to hold the deal. And then all of a sudden, like a couple weeks, months later, he's like now selling the deal and making like over $100,000 for each property. So sometimes the double close is actually a good idea if you want to maybe see what the market's like. But
yeah, we've actually had a couple people where we had to do double close because they wanted a title insurance to reflect the cost that they actually purchased it for, not what the assignment contract was for.
got it.
So,
Okay.
So we had a couple issues like that. So I don't know if that was actually like a thing or if they were just blowing smoke or what, but
you certainly found that there's been a need for this. Like you've been talking to other investors, and they're saying, hey, like this is something that is needed. And in the Jacksonville market, Northeast Florida market, I'm sure that's really helpful for a lot of investors, or Florida. It doesn't matter where it really is. But then on the flip side too, now you're getting into the pad split loans, which is really unique. It's very niche, right?
Yes.
What's that been journey like getting into that?
So we just got approved for the pad split loans. So,
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
You're the first
Yeah.
to hear about it.
This
Exclusive.
is exclusive, like yesterday. So we were actually just got approved for that. And so we work with a large fund, and it's all private money. So they can, pull different strings and levers to make stuff work. And this is what they're going to be offering. Now we can only loan on pad split loans. Like they have to be managed by pad split. So that's one of the criterias. But I mean, the way that pad split's growing throughout the country, I know in Jacksonville here, like E is just killing it with that. And so yeah.
And there's still so much growth in our market. I know it's already very popular in like the Orlando, Tampa areas, but Jacksonville, we still have a lot of room for that to grow here.
Yeah, and what areas have you seen there be more growth for this? Has it been like the west side, the east side?
1805, those are all like hot areas for pad splits.
Okay.
The last time I was talking to E about it.
Like Springfield area?
Yep.
Okay, more of that north side.
Avondale, and then like some of the around the ports.
Okay.
Because they have port people come in, and there's guys that works on ships, and he'll be gone for 3 months.
Right.
And they'll come and rent a room for 3 months. So that area also.
And public transportation.
Right.
So if there's areas that are easily accessible to buses, I don't know how well our train system's coming up. I know they're working on that in the rail and things. But
We'll see when that comes up.
right?
Yeah. It took Brightline a long time. Yeah, a little bit longer than usual.
It did, but it's a conversation.
Interesting. So do me a favor. Make sure you plug this on the show for Funding Ninja, because I think it'd be great that if people are out there, they're listening and they need help on these types of situations, they know where to go.
Yep.
Because again, we haven't had anybody talk about the transactional funding.
We're super excited about that. It's not great just for newbies. It's great for seasoned investors too, who have a ton of contracts. So it's
Yeah. But that's great. Feel free to plug it, because we'll make sure we put the chyrons up there for you.
Okay, awesome.
I got to ask you too. So something that we didn't even talk about for onboarding, not too often do I get to sit down with a husband and wife that are doing the business together. And there are a lot more people that are out there that are husband and wife and working on building the business together, but then they also have family, right? You guys have kids.
Yep.
You guys have your own personal lives and business. How in the world are you two balancing the kids, real estate, and then yourselves?
we've pretty much married the business. So we married each other and then married the business, but the kids are involved in everything we do. They come to all of our projects. They're super involved. They pick out paint. They help stage things and actually love it.
Wow.
Yeah, so they speak the language. They're only 4 and 6 years old, but it's so fun to see them super involved. We take them to networking events. They know the same people we know. Most of our friends that we are hanging out with now, we have met through other network engagements, and we have we're not doing the exact same thing, but we have similar things where we support each other's avenues. And
yeah, it's been
that's all we do.
yeah, we just have fun with the girls. The girls love it. And like our oldest Kylie, she's like, "Are we gonna go look at another property today, Dad?" I'm like, "Yep, we are. We actually, before we go to Disney on Ice, we have to drive by this." And we actually did that, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months ago with Riley Sheehan.
Okay,
We're
yeah,
like,
Riley.
We're like, "Hey, we got to run down and check this house out before we go to this concert with the girls." And he's like, "I can meet you guys there." So we went and looked at one of his properties. And but yeah, it's just, we just involve it into everyday life. It's just, and like, I don't know, how long have you been out of your W-2? Like 5 months now, 5 months maybe. And like, so it's that working every day together has also like been very eye-opening, and we bond a lot. We also, have our own discussions a lot, and like, hey, this is my idea, that's her idea. But I don't know, it's been good. It's fun.
It's super fun.
It's tough to find, right? Because I mean, when you're doing this every day, you know, sometimes the business blends into, you know, the personal side. But then if you've, you know, kind of blended that already and it already works out and you already know how to compartmentalize, that's amazing, right? It's amazing feat to have that ability. A lot of people want to know about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're surrounded by great people too, which really helps. So it's not just him and I all the time. We do have a whole networking community. So we do date nights and go to the Jack's RIA and the other networking events. We host our own networking event where it's more of a party for us.
Yes.
Hey, come and hang out. But all we're going to talk about is business because that's just what it turns into. So let's go to the beach with all of our friends that want to talk about real estate.
Yes. And when it comes to like the partnership discussions on business, you guys, I'm sure you guys have really in-depth conversation on like, you know, do we get into this project? You know, do we not get into this project? Like, who's the numbers person? Who's the breakdown person of all this?
I nerd out on some spreadsheets.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Numbers.
So math over here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I wanted to be an accountant when I was getting out of high school. And then I took an accounting class and I was like, whoa, that is definitely not for me. So I'm glad I can still get my number fix in the projects, but not have to do the CPA stuff full time.
Gotcha. So you guys have found your balance of strengths and what you each are really good at doing. Mm-hmm. So that's made it work too.
And actually, like within the last 4 months, Mandy has taken over all the flips and everything because I'm just like over it. 'Cause I'm like done with construction and like, so she's been taking over a lot of that stuff with us, which has been awesome for me to focus more on the wholesaling and building the Funding Ninja too. So it's been really good. And then we also have a team. So we have like, I don't know, 5 people now, 5 people on our team also.
Okay.
So it's just not her and I. So we're starting to delegate all that other stuff to the team members. So
Sure. And one thing we've gotten into on the show, definitely this season, has been looking through the lens of the internal process, right? So it's you guys, but then there's the team behind it. What does the team look like? What do you guys have behind the scenes that have made it work for you guys?
We have someone who's been operating as our property manager. So we have an in-house property manager and also doing disposition. So they have the contacts, networks. They reach out and dispo all of our projects as well as deal with the tenants, check-ins, leases, checkouts, issues, toilets, etc. We have someone else who is our head of acquisitions, who is now a partner. So they manage, him and Keith work simultaneously together to do the ads, inbound leads, what's working, what's not, direct mail, all the spend and dollars on that. And then we have a VA who is doing all of our behind-the-scenes technical pieces, website designs, all those tying this to tweaks, things that we don't understand, as well as an executive assistant. So she's also operating as a TC, so she's handling the contracts as well as everything else that needs handled in between, insurance claims, paperwork, appointments,
right,
etc. So they really get it done. Wouldn't have the time in the day to do everything we're doing without the team.
Yeah, we definitely would not be able to be scaling like we are without the team. I mean,
oh, I'm sure
you know that.
Oh, I get it, right?
Yeah.
You know,
power of the people.
It's a really important thing to do, to find the right people for those roles, right? You know, in the beginning, it sounds great where, hey, we could do all this ourselves, right? But then as you start to get more business, as you start want to buy more properties, or level up your business, you realize there's other roles, and finding those people is really key. And having an EA that can also be a TC is a very important role, because that's a lot of managing. You don't want to be the one calling and, emailing, I'm sure you still have to be kind of like in the business a little bit, right? Yep. But it's not like you have to do it yourselves. And building that team is critical.
And that was a big change for me, going from like working on houses and inanimate objects that like don't talk back, or they do whatever you tell them to do, to managing to try and find those people. And I don't know how many people that I've went through to like, all right, I'm going to work with them for like 4 or 5 months, and then they end up flaking out or just didn't work out. And just trying to build a team is a lot harder than building a house, it seems like.
Yes. And I will tell you, like, even on my end, building the team takes a lot of work. You know, you can put the pieces there, but then you got to learn about the pieces. Then you got to learn the strengths, and then you got to learn, hey, what molding and training needs to go into it, so you know you can fine tune those pieces, right? Because everybody's got a different role, everybody's got a different responsibility, and every year that goes by, the responsibilities change, and it's very rewarding when you're able to put the right people in the right seats, and they're helping you grow too. It's not just hiring people, it's people that want to see your business grow, right? And that's a very important thing to find. It's great.
Yep, and that, like, for me, I know, like, portraying my vision to them that's helped me grow also. It's like, hey, this is the end goal, guys. And then they're like, cool. Now they have, like, something to look forward to and, you know, focus on. It's just not like, oh, I'm going to come in and do a job, you know?
Right.
It's, hey, we're all growing together. And I love saying it's the team, because I don't like taking credit for a lot of stuff, because I don't do a lot of stuff myself, you know, because it's all the team.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own superpower.
Yes.
And everybody has the ability to grow and bring ideas and take it how they want and feel like it should go, which also gives everybody that empowerment too. Like, I matter, my role matters, everything I'm doing is for the better. I'm seeing the improvements.
Yeah. It's crazy you say that too, because Mike and I had a conversation about this last week, actually Wednesday, and we were talking about how the media side to this, you know, it's been a whole team effort. You know, in the beginning, I'm thinking, oh, it's like, you know, videos, I got to sit in the video. But actually, we have people behind the scenes. We have editors. Mike's editing. I'm traveling, doing more videos. Taylor's helping do the post and the copyright. Like, there's all these other pieces behind the scene, and it's truly amazing when you have that team behind you. And I'm sure you guys feel the same when you have that right there, that they have your back. They got it. They're the talent. They're doing everything, and it's amazing seeing that. So I love that for you guys.
And the social media, like, that is something huge that Mandy and I both struggle with, trying to do what we do with, like, on a day-to-day with just the properties and the wholesaling and the businesses, is that we were lacking on the social media. So we actually hired some friends, and they take care of all that. And they have a whole team dedicated, just like you were saying, just for that.
Yes.
And I'm like, so crazy how many people have their hands in everything, you know? So.
Yes. In the beginning, it's like, oh, I can do it all. But then you're like, all right. I tried editing a video. I don't know. It's somewhere on Facebook. Mike's definitely seen it. I tried doing my own video like 4 years ago, standing in the office, and I did my own editing. I did like a little swirl intro. And after I saw that video, I was like, I'm fired from doing that. I'm like, I am not doing that again. It was terrible. Horrible music in the background too. I don't know who chose that. It was me. It's bad. But I love this. I love this story with you guys, right? I love that it's been a building relationship with real estate, yourselves, your team, and it's just growing in the community. And one thing that's been amazing is you guys have built a community, the connection. Let's talk about that. You know, a community is everything. We love the Jacksonville community. We love the Florida community. And what you guys have been able to do with building the connection is bringing people together, having a party, right? Enjoying it. Let's talk about that.
So the idea with the connection is we can't be the experts of all things, but we know an expert of all things. We know somebody that we can connect you with in all aspects. If you come to us and you're looking for a probate attorney, we got a guy.
Here I am.
Yeah, so we fully operate in that sense. We can't do anything alone. We pioneer. We all work together. We have a lot of offerings, but again, there's people behind all of those offerings and those services. So.
Yeah, and that was basically part of our conversation. Mandy really likes having parties, and I could see us needing help and networking with, like, you know, just like what Matt does, and like what Pace does, like bringing everybody together to work together, and you get in the same rooms with like-minded people, and stuff happens, and that's one thing. Like, I'm like, if we have a connection and people are making deals over there, I don't care. Like, I don't feel like I'm missing out. I feel like I'm helping people, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I'm sure that you're in the position you're at with the attorney and doing probate. It's because you can help those people out. You're like, hey, I know I can do this. I'm good at this part, and I can help these people, and that's what makes it fun,
right? Right.
So, but yeah, the connection, we were doing them like every month. Last year, we took a break for the summertime because we took our daughters in an RV out to Montana,
sure,
for the whole summer, but we're going to be starting those up. We're going to be doing them quarterly. Hopefully, maybe bringing in some speakers, and stuff like that.
Sure.
So to give a little bit more instead of just a networking, actually maybe doing a little bit of education.
Yeah.
So we are working on building out a school community. And again, it's focused on the connection, too, of bringing people together, sharing our ideas, what's work, answering questions, just helping empower other people that want to do the things that they think they can't do, because everyone is capable of doing it. They just need a little push,
yes,
little insight, little help, and navigating.
Yes. There is a power to networking in person. Mm-hmm. There really is. And I know I've seen it, and I'm sure you guys have seen it, and then you see the deal making that's actually going on, and then years later, hey, we met at, and then they're referencing the connection, right? Like there's a power to community, and I love that you guys are gonna continue that, and then maybe do some change up meetings. That's fantastic. So where do you guys meet for this?
Well, we're looking at a couple new spaces right now.
Okay.
The other one, I think we've kind of outgrown it. So stay tuned. It's coming soon.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, so we're very active, like into going to the meetups and stuff, like Jack's REI meetups, like either Mandy's there, I'm there, or we're both there. We just love being around all those people. And that's kind of like what drew us to doing the connection, is like, hey, we can also do this, down south, but it's just, I don't know, it's just fun. So.
Yeah, I love that. That's great for you guys. Well, keep that going, keep the community going, and grow it. And of course, we got to give a shout out to Matt Andrews out there at Family Mastermind. What's up, Matt? The family is here. We're all here, and it's great that I get to see you guys and hear this journey and hear the story for everybody. And we'll make sure we plug Funding Ninja and everything that they're doing with school and the connection, the community. At the end of my show, I have some signature questions that I ask. And I've been thinking about what they've been throughout the episode. And I have to say, for you guys, what would you say would be some of the best advice you can give to new investors, or maybe some seasoned investors out there that are in this game right now?
My number one piece of advice is network. Go to as many engagements as you can. There's a networking event at least once a week in the community, I'm sure in every community nationwide. And there's so many virtual events that there's absolutely no reason not to tap into other resources, because you don't know who's holding the key to your treasure box, but somebody's out there.
And my advice would be just go. You have to jump in and do it. Like, you have to start. Don't analyze too much. You have to analyze a little bit, but at the end of the day, you have to take that first couple steps. Because we flip houses still, and we still learn something on every house. They're never the same. You're always learning. So don't be scared and just do it.
Love that. How are you guys finding the best talent out there to work with you?
Honestly, everybody's come to us. So it's organically. I don't know if it's the content creating or if it's just brands networking, but everyone that we have worked with personally gravitates to us as opportunity, and then it just seems to be a fit.
But then also getting in the right rooms,
yes,
we're like getting in the right rooms, like just going to those networking events, and then that turns into, hey, you guys should come and check this one out, and hey, you guys could come and check this one out, and it's getting into those different rooms with the different people and surrounding yourself by people that are doing stuff that you're not doing, and you can learn from them. I mean, it's all about learning.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, getting in those different rooms. and then being uncomfortable. I remember the first time I went to the family, I'm like, okay, so probably shouldn't be here, but I am. So just make the best of it. And so I just started talking to people, and you know, the next year it was a completely different feel.
100%.
And but it's just being uncomfortable or being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
That's it right there. You nailed that. It's having that comfort of being uncomfortable.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. The first time you show up, it's like, what's going on? But then you just got to dive right in. And then like the experience a year later, and I could say even 3 years later, is like completely different.
Yep.
Right. And it's a great thing to be a part of those kind of communities and surrounding yourself with those people all the time.
And it doesn't even have to be like that type of atmosphere. It's even the Jack's Free events.
Yeah.
Like going there, like 2 years ago, never even talked to Michael. Now I go up and talk to Michael every time, and you know, hey, how's it going? What you been up to? Like, you're making friends, you know? So it doesn't matter if it's a group that you join or something like that, or if it's the small local events in your community, you know?
Doesn't matter what it is. Just got to attend and show up, right?
Yep.
Showing up is, they say it's 50%. I think it's like 90%, right? You just show up and then something's going to happen. It's great. If you two had unlimited resources, money was no object, what would you guys do with the business?
We would probably be scaling a lot faster. We would be growing our portfolio with apartment buildings, because single families are individual, remotely, because I really want to travel through Europe, and offering more service and training for lending, because I think other people's money is one of the biggest tools to help people scale. And that's also one of the things that holds most people back, is because they don't know where to find the money and the resource. They have a deal, but they can't fund it. So having those unlimited funds can really help everybody execute their next journey.
Yeah, I think the funding holds a lot of people back, because everybody thinks like, hey, if I don't have $50,000 in the bank, I can't go out and do something. But if you're in the right communities or the right groups, all you have to have is the deal, and you can find the money, you can find the person, you can find all the people, as long as you're in those rooms. So I would probably promote community more. If I had unlimited funds, I would try to promote the connection, or, you know, just learning and growing as like a community.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's great. Hey, you never know, right? All of a sudden it's like, what do you do? Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like winning the lottery. What do you do with the money
what's
now?
next?
Yeah, what's next? You know, just scale the whole thing, grow it from there. Awesome. I love that for you guys. Well, I got to say, I've learned so much just from you two sitting here, and I've learned about the business side of it, where you guys have been, what you've been through, what you're investing in. And just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to come here, because I know it's busy, family, kids during the week. So I got to say, every time we have an in-person guests come in, we have Al Nicoletti Show swag. So for you guys, we got the mugs. So this is yours.
Thank you. We'll
And
start
this is-
every day out.
Yes, right? Coffee, tea, whatever is your liking.
All the things.
Everything. And we even have shirts. So this one's for you. Here, let me, we got to do it like this. This is Mandy, right? Right there.
Thank you.
And Keith's. Look at this, Keith. There you go.
Awesome.
These are great. Al, thank you so much. We really appreciate coming out here. It's always great hanging out with you, getting to chat.
Yeah.
It's a one-on-one time together. Super stoked for our new swag.
Yes, definitely.
Yes, it's only in studio. We
even
you know,
better.
that's what it's all about, right? Having that connection, right? Yeah. So I got to use that word, the connection, right?
Bazinga.
Yeah. Well, as I do with all my guests at the end of the show, I do a segment called Final Words, Final Thoughts. Anything that you really want to leave the audience with at home for this lasting impression, last piece of advice. So as I do on my show, Final Words, Final Thoughts, Mandy and Keith Konecki.
Follow us on Instagram at The Connection. We share topics, trainings, event information there, and you'll find additional information.
Final thoughts, I guess, just keep networking. Just keep networking and just don't be afraid to learn. Like, that's all. Just keep growing.
Love it. We always love all the final words, final thoughts of the guest on the show. It's awesome. Thank you both so much for coming. Really enjoyed this. And literally, we have to keep the connection coming and going because, like, this is great. I love what you guys are doing. Keep being a part of it. And let's not just see each other at family. We'll see each other in Jacksonville and not just Tampa.
You want to come? You want to come speak at one of the connections then?
I'm done. I'm in.
Perfect.
I'm in on that one.
All
That'll
right.
be so fun. It'll be a party, right? We'll make it a party for Mandy over here.
All right,
Yes.
I'll be there.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thank
right.
you so much.
Of
Thanks.
course.
See you guys.
All right, everybody, you heard it right there from Mandy and Keith Konecki. If you missed any of this episode, go back, watch it, check it out. You don't want to miss their meetups if you are in the Jacksonville or surrounding networking areas. You got to go check it out, The Connection, and make sure you check out their transactional funding of Funding Ninja. They've talked about that on the show with transactional funding for your deals, and they just got approved for the pad split loan, so don't miss that. And we'll see you all next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. You don't want to miss it. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.